Are we live? I think we are live, so hello everyone.
Oh!
My name is Kaadzik, and this is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2.
What happened to the first one?
The first one exists, and it's actually really cool as well. This one is a late NES game. It came out in 1993, I believe. That's why it's not that popular as the first one, actually. Because it was so late into the NES era that SNES was already a thing, so no one bothered with NES games. And I think that's a mistake. I think it's a great game, and I'm gonna try to show you exactly why. We're gonna be playing as Chip, because he's obviously a better chipmunk out of the two, and if someone thinks Dale is better, that's okay. It's not illegal to be wrong. And yeah, I think we're ready to start. I don't need to do any more explanations with the game. Are we all ready?
Yeah, I believe we're ready.
Okay, so if you are ready, then I will count you down. In 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Chip and Dale 2, as I've mentioned. We play as Chip, and we have a quest. A quest for us is to defeat Fatcat. Obviously, as a Rescue Rangers guys, we have to defeat Fatcat. We defeated him the first game, but during the second game, he escaped out of prison in the cutscene that we've already skipped, but you know the deal. So we have to finish up his goons and then, hopefully, try to capture him as well. You may see in the first level that I'm trying to avoid as much of these RR tokens as possible. This is the currency in the game, I suppose. And the thing with the currency is it's being counted at the end of each stage, so the lower amount you have, the more time you save. It's, I think, 4 frames per 1 coin. I may be wrong, but it's somewhere along those lines. So yeah, you will see me on every stage trying to avoid them as much as possible. Sometimes they are not avoidable, like right here. I have to drop here on the right, so I have to collect them. But other than that, yeah, we already finished the first stage. We have the first boss, and the first boss is Water Rabbit. You will see a cool mechanic here. First of all, I'm getting pushed away by the water here, so I have to counter it by moving forwards. Or I will drop down. And as you can see, I'm damaging him with these boxes, and I'm actually loading them with unlimited power by walking forward. If you walk forward for 20 frames, I believe, you then boost up the power of the box you are holding, so it actually deals double damage. Normally you would need 6 damage to kill the boss, 6 hits, but if you load the box you can do it much faster in 3 or 4 as I did right now, because the boss hit himself for some reason. But yeah, we're actually gone with the first level, and now it's the second one, my favorite one, the sewer level, because every game has to have a sewer level. And this is my favorite one because it's relatively short, it's really cool, it has cool music, like all the entirety of the game. It's really cool and polished, and I'm Polish, yay, so that's even greater. And the thing with this level in particular is that this is the only boss in the entire game that is not random. This game is not that popular in speedruns, mainly because every single boss in this game is random, except 2 of them, because one you can technically manipulate, and this one, it's not random at all. It's really hard in casual playthrough because he pushes you away with the wind, and you have to get used to the mechanics of being pushed away. But once you figure them out, it's quite simple. It's just a simple auto-scroller, to be fair. And that's why I like it. But the thing is, every single boss, as I've mentioned, is RNG dependent. And some of those may lose you 5 seconds on a bad cycle, some may lose you minutes if you're really unlucky, and you're gonna see why in like 10 minutes or so. But right now we are finished with this boss, we have 2 levels down. The next level is kind of unique as well, because it's the only level that doesn't have a cutscene at the beginning, because technically the lore of this level was explained in the previous one. I'm not going to dive into the lore of this game because it's a mess, to say the least. And I'm not diving into that because I don't have enough time. Basically, Fatcat is a monster that can arrange so many things in such a little time. Just a reminder, at the end of the game, it will be like half a day since he escaped from prison. And he already set up all of those goons, set up traps for rescue rangers, build a robot and stuff. So yeah, he's really talented, I have to say. Actually, during this level I was damaged unintentionally, so I'm just gonna grab 1 acorn of safety here and lose it again. Okay, that was bad. And we'll see how this boss will treat us, let's say. Because this is the same as we had in the previous stage, which means we have to damage him with boxes. We have to use boxes to damage him, and we are trying to load them up, but the platforms we can stand on are really small, and I'm using a frame-perfect technique, actually, to load the boxes properly, because you have to move 20 frames in one direction in order to load up the box to deal double damage. And if you switch a direction, you have to load it again for 20 frames. But if you switch the direction without releasing the first one, you cannot do this on NES, so you have to be frame perfect literally, or pause buffer to make sure. So if you change directions without even a frame of pause between them, you can load the box without going only in one direction, but it's frame perfect every time you turn. And I'm pretty good at it at this point. I can, without buffering it up, do it consistently, and it saves only barely any time, but it looks and sounds cool. I mean, come on, who wouldn't do a cool trick that sounds cool? Obviously. Also, this was the level that didn't have any boss. It was a trap set up by Fatcat, and we had to escape in 3 minutes. We escaped in 30 seconds because it's actually an easy level. And we're coming to a haunted house, the worst level in the entire game because this boss is garbage, and you're gonna see exactly why. First of all, this house was completely normal, but Fatcat, in less than 24 hours, managed to steal the urn from some kind of museum or stuff, and release the ghosts of the urn in this empty manor that is now haunted because of him. And he managed to escape, but he forgot that the urn is still here, so we can actually make this house not haunted again. So that's what we're trying to do now. First of all, let me just do this nifty damage boost, and we're at the boss already. All the stages, platforming stages, are really quick. And as I said, they are not that hard if you've played the game enough. This is the ghost. And he's a bad guy. He's a really bad guy. And this spooky ghost here is a bad guy because he can do two things. He has two attacks. He can either provide you with ammo by throwing stones at you, which he did now, or he can throw lightning bolts at you, which do literally nothing and waste your time. And if you're wondering, yes, he can do those lightning bolts in infinite amount of times. So you can spend a solid 5 minutes here without having any ammo to shoot him with and just waste time. That's why many people just don't like running this game, because it's so much RNG is in just one level. Also, the thing I wanted to say is that in the first game, each boss took 5 hits to kill him. In this game, the difficulty kind of ramps up every boss you defeat, because the first 3 bosses take 6 hits, this one takes 7, the next 3 take 8 hits, and the last one takes 10. So this was a pretty good boss fight. We had like only 1 or 2 lightning bolt cycles, so I would call it a win, definitely. And now we have a kind of non-linear segment and unskippable cutscenes, so maybe this is a good time for you, Mash, to plug something. Or I can just talk about the non-linear part of the game. Basically what's happening here is that Fatcat is hidden somewhere in the theme park, and there are 3 parts of the theme park, and we can go to them in any order we want. And it doesn't matter, really, so we're just picking the order that is in the game. Some runners actually pick other maps first, because they have harder tricks. It doesn't matter for me that much. Also, I did a frame-perfect jump, but it doesn't matter, you didn't see it. The damage boost I did from the bolt over there, I had to do... maybe it's not frame perfect, I overestimated it, but it's really precise. You have to do a couple of consecutive jumps in a very short period of time so that you actually are there on time for the bolt to fall down, hit you, and actually damage boost you correctly. So the stage is already over. It's one of my favorite stages as well, because it's quite vertical and not horizontal, which was a thing in previous game. This time they added much more verticality in levels, and I really like that, even though when you fall you die instantly. But if you know what you're doing, then you don't fall, and it's actually fun to play. So now we're battling an ostrich riding on a motorcycle that throws cogs at us. Yeah. this game, it's just Disney. They can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. And this is one of the 3 bosses that take 8 hits, as I've said. And the RNG that he provides is not that bad, because he can either throw the cogs close to you or further to you, it does not matter. And he can sometimes drive off from the screen and come back, and it does not matter as well. Because it doesn't lose you that much time. The next level is terrible. It's one of the few levels, platform-wise, that I really don't like, because it has one section that should be tested in the development, but was not. Minecart section. You're gonna see it in a sec once I finish up this screen without taking any damage. Okay, I didn't jinx it. Minecart section. It's great. You actually have to do something different. It's nifty, it's fine, except it's not. Because to use the lever to boost up the minecart here, you have to push forward. You have to come up to it and push forwards and backwards. And if you get hit by any of those stones or wrecking balls on the way, you get iframes. And if you're in the iframes animation, you cannot interact with everything. Or with anything. With boxes, bosses, enemies, and also the lever. So if you move forward and you cannot interact with the lever, you fall down and die. And I've lost so many runs to this, you have no idea how much I despise this level. Fortunately, on the marathon setup, of course, everything is fine. And I didn't need to jinx it, and I did not. Also, this is a card cat, because he's a cat and he throws cards at us. You may have seen that the bosses have some Captain Planet theme going on here, because we had a water rabbit that uses water. We had a feline that shoots wind at us, so it's kind of a wind element. We had a drunk weasel that was shooting fire, and this card cat, I guess, shoots cards, and some cards have hearts on them, so heart counts as an element in Captain Planet universe. I don't know. It kind of connects each other. Oh yeah, the ghost can be ground type because he shoots rocks at you, so yeah, it's technically a Captain Planet merchandise. It's ripped off, totally. Disney ripped off everything from Captain Planet. I wonder if someone watching this run actually knows what Captain Planet is. It's such an old cartoon. Okay, right now I'm doing a diagonal throw for swag. It actually saves some time, but it also looks cool. And the thing is, I cannot defeat the enemy that was on top of there. Because as soon as I get close to him, he electrocutes himself, and he deflects any box that I throw at him. So, but if I throw it early enough, diagonally from the bottom floor, I actually can kill him. And normally I would have to wait for him to stop electrocuting himself or just damage boost through him. And I don't want to damage boost, so I just use this whack strat. And the level is gone, and the second worst enemy in the game, Grimacing Gecko, because he's a gecko and he makes weird faces. This is a really hard boss because it's totally unpredictable, as most of the bosses it's RNG, but he moves back and forward on the screen. And the chain and the wrecking ball he has on his vehicle block the projectiles that we're throwing at him. So we have to throw them diagonally, which is not that easy on an NES controller. And the second thing is, if he moves back and forward, he can move onto us, and you don't know if he actually moves forwards or backwards. Or he can just charge you at the front. So you have to constantly figure out if this is good for you, are you in a good position, where will he move in the next couple of milliseconds, so that you actually can throw the thing properly diagonally. It's a mess, I really don't like this boss. It's not that hard, I'm over-exaggerating things of course, but yeah, it brings me pain as a speedrunner because it's not as consistent as it could have been. Compared to like the first game where everything is super consistent. But right now, we are going to the last boss. Maybe not the last boss, but the last area of the game, which is the biggest area of the game, because it's the last area of the game. We beat all of the stages in the theme park, we have all the keys from the theme park, so now we are in Fatcats Hideout. I just want to mention once more that the music in this game is awesome, and you should appreciate it and maybe play it yourself because it's really cool. The graphics are great, the music is great, everything is great in this game, except maybe a few bosses, but I've already mentioned that. And this stage is unique because we don't care about taking money here. We can just take it or not. it gets counted at the end of the level, but timing ends before it gets counted, so we don't care about picking up stuff or not. Right now we got 2 damage boosts, but we get healed, so it's fine. So what we do if we get healed, we lose the health immediately by damage boosting again. Because we're supposed to wait for these lasers here, but who waits for stuff in speedruns? So we just damage boosting through it. Right before the hardest room in the game, the infamous ball room. Not because there is a ball here, but they are shooting balls at you. Like this. The pattern is kind of set, kind of not, and sometimes you can die. The pattern is kind of set, but sometimes balls disappear from the screen faster than they normally do. The thing is, on the screen can only be 1 ball at a time. If the ball for some reason didn't despawn fast enough, the second one won't spawn, so the cycles are screwed up for the rest of the room, and it kind of messes up the patterns. And I didn't react properly the first time. But this is the final boss. We've seen the holographic Fatcat, and now we're facing off Robo Fatcat. I've mentioned it, and I'm gonna say it again. This guy built a robot and built all of the traps for rescue rangers that released the spirit of the urn in the haunted house in like 12 hours. Building a robot itself in 12 hours is impressive, but damn, he went even further. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if he won, to be honest. Like, he has some dedication versus rescue rangers. But yeah, this is the last boss fight. It's kind of anticlimactic. Because the boss just falls down, moves his mouth, and then moves back up again. If he falls down on the right side, he attacks you, but you don't want it because it wastes more time. So you want him to go on the left or middle side of the screen. But it's absolutely RNG, as I mentioned earlier, so yeah, you have to manage. Also, it's a good thing that I actually died, because normally I would have 1 HP here, and I got damaged by the hand. So I would die, and because I got earlier, I didn't die here, so it's actually a time save, you know. So yeah, if he's on the right side, he can do 3 attacks. He can move his right hand, he can use the left hand with the wrecking ball, as you can see, and he also uses electric tail to electrify the ground. And he also can drop off his own bombs and damage himself, so it's really nice, for us at least. He needs 10 hits. Once we do a 10th hit, it's gonna be time. Wow, the time is really great, to be honest. I didn't think I would be able to do that good of a run without any practice. This was half of the hits, this is 5 hits. And as you could see, there were some lagging coming off because he's damaged right now. There were some fires, some screws coming off from him. And now every single time he drops down on the ground, the game is gonna lag. As you can see, it's lagging heavily. And because of that, and the fact that you have a 3-second timer on a bomb you have to throw, and if you throw it incorrectly, it won't explode on time and damage him, it messes up entirety of the timings you've had at this point. So you basically have to learn 2 timings for this boss, with lag and without lag. And the lag is not that consistent, so oh, my input got eaten, okay. This is bad, I don't want to repeat the boss again, because it's quite long of a boss fight. But right now we should be at 6 hits, I believe, or 7 even. Maybe it's 7. But yeah, unfortunately for us, oh, my input got eaten again. Okay, so it was a really good boss fight, so we're gonna see it again. Also, you may see that it's lagging because it takes so many sprites. It's an NES game, and it's a late NES game, and it uses many graphics. So they had to, you know, make some compromises. For example, during this boss fight, they had to remove the background and the floor, so that they have enough memory for actually rendering the boss. And even with that, it still lags when he gets destroyed. So yeah, we'll still have some time of the boss. I think I've explained everything, so if Mash has something to say, it would be a good time again.
Yeah, sure. Just a reminder, everybody watching, that we are supporting Save the Children. So all your donations, all your bits, all your subs go directly towards that. So it's much appreciated. If you got a few bits lying around, you know, toss them in. That all definitely helps. And even if it's only $1 on a donation, you can put that towards any of the upcoming bid wars that we have, including choosing the ending for Witcher 3, which is coming up right after this run.
Yeah, exactly.
So get that in. And I'm not even sure when that closes, but from what
at the end of the run,
remember,
basically. So you have still 2 hours throughout the run to donate for that. So make sure you do.
Perfect. That's great, because Witcher 3 is a great game, and it's just one of those deep dive stories.
You're not gonna see much of the story in the speedrun, but you're gonna see some amazing glitches, and I highly recommend waiting for it just after this run. So yeah, you're not gonna miss it. Hopefully, at least.
We're donating for the ending at least.
Yeah, and toss a coin
much
to your
story
Kaadzik.
we're gonna get in this speedrun.
Yeah. You can choose the ending. That's so cool, and the bid war right now is even, I believe. So you can still decide just by donating even $1.
Yeah.
Please don't choose Siri. Choose saving the frames.
I'm gonna save the frames or save the Siri.
Yeah, please save the frames.
Where are we? I mean, I like Siri just as much as the next person, but sometimes I wonder.
To be fair, I am a world record holder of The Witcher 3, and there is not 0% chance that I may do a world record on the marathon, because my current world record has a 2-minute time loss because of the soft lock. So if you choose saving frames, maybe world record on stream? You know, I'm trying to give you arguments to not save Siri, you know?
Alright, chat, you heard him. You have 2 hours after this run to figure that out before the end of that run. So if you want to save Siri and get those...
Oh, it's time, by the way. Sorry for not mentioning it. We're talking about Witcher, but yeah, it's time. We beat Fatcat. And yeah, it was 10 hits already. The second time fighting the boss was way better than the first one. So yeah, this was Chip and Dale. As we've mentioned a couple of times already, Witcher 3 is coming next. But we have a couple of things before we end the run right now. Because we've beaten the Fatcat robot. His faculty will explode. His hideout will explode. We have to run away. But there is one thing at the end of the game. Timer has ended. Everything has ended. We still need to do one more thing. A bonus round that will give us more lives, even though the game will not continue at all. Because they have hard-coded that after every single stage there has to be a bonus round. And they forgot to pull it out from the last stage. So you still can, you know, work up some lives, even though you don't need them at all. And there's also one more thing I want to show up. Like, you can see that we are now escaping from the hideout, and we successfully did it. Let me just smash through the cutscene. But Fatcat is nowhere to be seen, so there's a cliffhanger for maybe a third Chip and Dale game that unfortunately didn't came out, because the second one was a late NES game, as I've mentioned, and it wasn't as popular as it should have been. It's a really good game. But because of that, we didn't get a third part ever, which is sad. Maybe somewhere in the future, remastered collection is already a thing, so maybe a new game or something. Please, Disney, Capcom, whatever, do it. And we have the ending screen. Yeah, we've completed the game, now completely. No bonus rounds, everything. It's all fine. There's one big note in this game that they didn't program. Getting out of it. In order to get out of the ending screen, you have to reset the game or the console. Because no matter what I press on the controller, I just split my timer again because I have bound on my controller. I can mash buttons on my controller, it does not work. I have to reset. That's the only way to get out. But yeah, as I mentioned, it's a really good game. You should play it. It's even on the remaster collection is on Steam and on PS4 and Xbox One, I believe, so you can buy it with all of the other amazing games from Disney Capcom, like Chip and Dale 1, Darkwing Duck, some other games I don't remember right now. Dacta is there, I think, 1 and 2. Yeah, definitely check it out because it's great. But I'm not gonna waste any more time. We're going to a quick intermission, I believe, and then The Witcher 3.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So stay tuned for The Witcher 3, and we'll be right back.
18 years. That's about how long it takes for a kid to grow up. And a lot can change in that time. Since the year 2000, 30 million more people have fled their homes due to conflict, the most in history. But in that same time span, caring individuals and organizations like Save the Children have made positive change for children. 50 million more kids reached their 5th birthday, and 49 million more kids have healthy food. 94 million fewer kids were forced into harmful labor, and 115 million more kids are in school. 11 million fewer girls were forced to marry. 3 million fewer girls gave birth, and 12,000 fewer children were killed by violence. All this positive change, rippling from one childhood to the next. Imagine how many more lives we can change in our lifetime.
Alrighty, everybody. As a reminder, this is for Save the Children. All your donations, bits, and subscriptions go directly towards the charity. And my time with y'all is coming to an end, so we will be passing it off to Animated Elf, who will be with you for the duration of The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, where you can talk about all of the waifu goodness throughout that game, all to the very bitter end, hopefully, as our runner is hoping. So get your bid war donations in for that throughout the course of the run, and you decide whether or not the runner is saving the frames or if they're saving Siri.
All right, thanks so much, Mash. Hi, everybody. My name is, again, Animated Elf. We are here for Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and as Mash mentioned, again, just going to plug it again, we do have that bid war going for Save the Frames or Save Siri. Y'all know the right choice. Save the waifu. I don't care about this world record. He can fight me. I'm here to make this game go as long as physically possible because I love The Witcher.
It is a very fantastic game. And if you haven't played any of them and you have the ability to play them, then please do. They're great games, great reading material if you don't want to play the video game. So
yeah, very good. And there is also the Netflix series based off of the book that is also phenomenal. But again, like we mentioned, we are here for Save the Children, and Save the Children works in the heart of communities where they can help children and families help themselves by providing education, infrastructure, healthcare, and protection from harm. Save the Children works closely with other organizations, governments, nonprofits, and a variety of local partners while maintaining their own independence without political agenda or religious orientation. Help us keep them in making the world a better place. Thank you for donating to Save the Children, and let's donate to save the waifus.
yeah, save your waifus. Yen is the best, though. I'm just going to throw that out there. So, Siri can probably go die, maybe? We'll see.
Fight me!
I will, in donations. This calls for a bid war.
We've already got the bid war for Save the Frames or Save the Waifus, so why not just make a straw poll and drop it in chat?
Yeah, well, I guess we shall do that once the run gets going. But anyways, that's it for us. We're going to hop on over to the runner in just a brief moment.